Nice gather. And I have an amazing treat for you. I know that we've talked a lot about, especially if you look at the tour quality focus or tour quality mental game video. When you stay with it that way, a lot of things are going to be discovered that have never been discovered before. I mean, we're in brand new territory here. And a lot of the pros on tour that have gone to those really low rounds have been able to get there subconsciously. And so how do you get there in a way that's very, very comfortable? Like I have one of my students, remember that 84 shoot I was telling you about? He's still struggling. It's only been a couple of sessions. And he's played like 3 rounds so far where he's focusing on, how many shots has he been able to stay with out of 36 full swings on the golf course? And he's not even at 10 yet. He could see, and it's frustrating for him right now, he can see where he's blacking out. But he can really see where he needs to put his attention. He's not shooting any worse scores. He's still shooting the 84s, but now he can see his way into improving on that, because when he does stay with a shot, he always hits a very nice quality shot. And if it's a miss, it's a much better miss than what he's used to. Now, I was able to get myself to a certain level of about anywhere between 28 and 32 out of 36 where I'm staying with my shot now. And it took me a while. I just figured out those last, 6 to 8 swings. And they've been mostly with the driver. Because the ball is a little more forward in the stance, when I get to the top of the backswing, I tend to see the ball a little differently. All of a sudden, the shadow on my nose is starting to creep in, and all of a sudden, I see the ball differently, and it interrupts my focus. It interrupts it distracts me. And so I go, okay, well, wait a second. How do I need to position my head in order to see the ball exactly the same way and feel like I've got enough backswing? And I got that all on my own. Another lesson I figured out. So if I'm doing a little draw here and I pre-turn my head, you're going to see me with a little bit more turn in my head now. So now I see the shadow of my nose in there. Now I can focus on my intermediate point. I'm staying with it and staying with it. And I've been able to see the shot the whole way through. So now I just remove that little extra distraction. So a little more turn of the head. I see the shadow of my nose now in there. So now I see that dandelion. I'm going to the right edge of that intermediate point. Stay with it. Stay with it. Woo. So I was able to stay with my shot the whole time. And where it really paid off is when I get into my woods here. So if I got a little forward, I got my intermediate point, and when the ball's a little more forward now, because the club occupies more space in the center of my stance, so now there we go, got the shadow of the nose in there. So gather, stay with it. Perfect. There's that gorgeous draw coming right back to the center. I stayed with that the whole time. And here's the moment of truth. With that driver, I got my intermediate point right there. Start with a little fade. I'm going through the tip of the tee in that direction. So now my eyes are on the tee. I see my intermediate point. There we go. So now through the tip of the tee to the left of the intermediate point. Left edge, left edge. Left edge. Stayed with that the whole time. Nice. So, one more time. Got there, pre-turn. I stayed with it. Stayed with it. Stay with it. So I can see the blur of my club getting ready to go through the tip of the tee in the direction that is left of that intermediate point. Got it, got it. Hey, hear that? And all of a sudden, I'm starting to really nut the ball in the center of that club face. So let's go a little draw here. So now, feels like when I stay with it to the right edge, tip of the T is in the right position. There we go. Right edge, right edge. Right edge. So stayed with that. Club face wasn't closed enough. So that stayed, started right, stayed right, didn't draw. So I felt the need to close it manually. So that means, there we go, get a little stronger on the grip. Got it. Right edge, right edge. Fantastic. Man, I'm so excited. I can't wait to go play now because, man, I'm really staying all the way through because of this. Whereas before, I would go, okay, this looks pretty good. And then all of a sudden, whoop, everything is slightly different. So for those of you, that's why you don't want to play with bifocals. Because you see the ball a certain way and you get to the top of the swing, you see it differently. All of a sudden, the view changed. There's a little warp that came in front of your eyes and whoop, now it distracted you. So find a way to stay with your shots. Keep staying with your shots and then you figure out, wait a second, why is this going on right now? There's a short circuit preventing me from going in that direction. So maybe you're letting go of the club. Maybe you're swaying and you don't realize, or maybe you changed, a lot of the times for many of you, it's the change in this. So the brain says, well, I can't go to the right of that intermediate point anymore. Hurry up and hit the ball before something bad happens. So if you find yourself blacking out or in a rush, then we got to figure out what's preventing you from staying with the shot. That's when you come and see me. Or that's when we do a little online lesson, or we'll do a Skype lesson. So you send me a little bit of video and we'll set up an appointment half an hour and we'll figure out, well, what's preventing you from for staying with your shot. And this is where it all happens. Okay. So I had just a delightful discovery on my own here, and I want you to get your discoveries. Those are the best kinds of lessons, the ones that you really are able to figure out on your own. And I want that for you guys. So we'll see you in the next one. Okay, so I'm putting that focus to the test with the eyeball unit. You can see that it's got a nice circle on top. Check it out on the website, www.wisdomingolf.com, and go to the Pro Shop page and you'll check out this eyeball. So the acid test right here, and this is it makes things so much more accurate. So I got my ball and a string. I'm letting the ball and a string clip through the tip of the tee. So it feels like the arc is staying through there. Now if I'm seeing the ball the same way back and through, my eyes are on the tee, so I'm seeing the tee the same way back and through. I'm going to the right edge of that intermediate point. See the same way? See the same way. And that was just pasted. So really solid unit. If you're having a hard time staying with your shot, I recommend you get this eyeball unit, and you're putting it on, you either with the irons, you're putting that, check out, keep your eyes on the prize, Sean Clement. You're putting your eyes on that little sliver of grass between the leading edge of the club and the ball, and you always see that little sliver of grass, but your focus is on whipping through that dandelion stem. So my eyes are on the tee, but my focus is on letting the arc, the circle, go through the tip of the tee to the right edge of that intermediate point right there. So I can see my eyes never leave, they stay, and I feel like everything is intersecting, the arc is intersecting, or the tip of the tee intersects the arc, I should say. So it stays, it stays. So it's a really cool way to to keep that focus. Now right there, that one was a little too strainy for me. And I'm just, same thing, letting it track, letting it track. So that was a lot less effort, and that was on a rope right down the middle. So if you look at my video entitled Contact and Direction, and that is all about staying centered. This is a great way to stay centered, but not only that, it's really going to pay big dividends with your focus. You're staying with it, you're staying with it. So I'm looking for that blur of that arc through the tip of the T to the right edge of that intermediate point for my draw. Hear that? So I see the T the same way through that circle, and I'm just nipping the tip of that T perfectly every time. And you can see how balanced I stay throughout the motion, because that center is not moving back and forth this way. Well, it's going to be very easy to stay on your feet when the center of gravity is not moving. So I hope you enjoyed that. We'll see you in the next one.